It seems in the current economic situation our country faces, the word we hear most often is bailout. It started with the banking and lending sector, who got $700 billion. Then the big three automakers were next in line, though their attempt at bailout money was marred by CEOs taking private jets to congressional hearings on the matter. Even the pornography industry is asking for bailout money. Governor Strickland has, in recent months, asked for a bailout of sorts for struggling states. It's hard to keep track of who got what in the haphazard money slinging. Banks like Bank of America and Citigroup received upwards of $25 billion. General Motors received $10.4 billion in loans. With all the money handed out in the numerous institutions, how much bailout money has been paid? As of the end of November, which is only 2 months ago, $7.36 trillion, according to CNBC. Think about that, $7.36 trillion for big businesses. Businesses that have CEOs that, if bankrupt, had the choice of selling the private jet or the winter home in Miami. Now, I don't actually know that they have homes in Miami, but that is the type of wealth these companies have produced for their top executives. But what about us? You and I both know we've sat in our living rooms and said, "What about my bailout?" Well, your bailout was handed to those banks that bought up other banks and to the car companies that can't develop a more fuel-efficient car. What if every taxpayer got a bailout of sorts, somewhere around, $50,000? I don't know about you, but I think $50,000 would bail a lot of people out, not to mention stimulate the economy. The problem is affording that. Now, remember that $7.36 trillion? Well, if you divide that $7.36 trillion by the total number of taxpayers in the United States, you could give every taxpayer just over $53,000. $53,000, seriously. It's just, Andy, what are the words I'm looking for here?
That makes me sick.
Yes, that makes me sick. Every taxpayer could go buy a new car, and with cash, no financing needed. Every taxpayer could put a hefty down payment on a home. You could go into Walmart and actually afford that 128-inch plasma screen HD TV with built-in DVD and foot massager. Now, to be fair, many of you are affected if these juggernaut companies fail and die off like spandex. But how many of you would be less stressed if you were laid off but had 50G in your pockets? I know I would not be incredibly worried about the layoff for at least a few months. It's nothing personal, but in the U.S. economy, if a business fails, it fails and is dissolved. These companies like Citibank and GM, Ford, Chrysler, AIG, all the other companies getting large chunks of change should go bankrupt. And I say let them go bankrupt. You would let me and the government would let you. It's time we call for our own bailout. They always say, call your senator when you have a problem. So, for your convenience, here are the phone numbers for Senator Sherrod Brown and Senator George Voinovich. You can reach Senator Sherrod Brown at area code 202-224-2315. And you can reach Senator George Voinovich at area code 202-224-3353. Call them, seriously call them right now and tell them you want the TV22 stimulus package. They'll know what you're talking about. And it is your money. One thing that might help you, you might have an estimated time of bankruptcy. It certainly helped the automotive industry.